Hey, good afternoon, Capricorns. My name is Anne, and welcome to This Old Goat Tarot. If you're new here, this is my channel for Capricorns, all placements. And today is May the 21st, 2025. No, this is not a Gemini reading, although welcome to Gemini season. If you're interested in that, I do a reading just yesterday, so check out my channel. I'll post the link below. But today's reading is going to be very special. We have an interesting transit coming up, and that's going to be on May the 25th, 2025, just this weekend, where Saturn is going to be leaving the sign of Pisces and will be moving into the sign of Aries, okay? And I think, especially being us as Capricorn suns, this is interesting because Saturn is our ruling planet, and it is going to be, he's going to be moving into the sign of his fall. So he's at his exaltation in Libra, which is all about fairness, justice, everything being equal, structure, laws, strategy, planning, control. And that is going to be sort of upended in the sign of Aries, a fire sign, where things are unpredictable. And so as Capricorns, that energy is a little bit, makes us a little vulnerable because we're so used to knowing what's next. We're so used to being able to sort of be in control of our destiny, if you will, and not necessarily knowing what's coming next is putting ourselves in a new place. It's outside of our comfort zone. And so the fact that Saturn is going to be here until September of this year, he's going to go back into Pisces, and in February of next year, he's going to go back into Aries all the way until April of 2026. He's a slow-moving planet. And again, Saturn is he's the taskmaster. He's the one who takes a long time, a lot of hard work. He enforces that structure, but yet at the end of the day, what happens at the end? It's big rewards, and he always does reward us. Keep in mind that Capricorn is the father of the zodiac. So there's also a narrative here around divine masculine that's coming through. If you think about the fact that he's going to be in the sign of his detriment, a sign of his fall, in the sign of Aries, where he's uncomfortable, and he can't control the next step. As goats, we're used to climbing the mountain, and we have a plan. We're very methodical. We want to get to the top of our mountain, whatever that goal is that we've set out to achieve. We would probably go over hundreds of mountains in our lifetimes, and we do so at ease. Given the fact that he's going to be moving forward, and he doesn't have that ability anymore. He doesn't have the ability to create the structure that he's so used to doing. What's left? What's left of Saturn in his fall? It's a challenge, okay? And it's an opportunity for us to use this energy to expand and to grow. And so what's left for Saturn? It's his leadership quality. So that leadership quality, and I'm sure a lot of Capricorn suns here are natural born leaders. You might be a manager in your job, maybe the head of the household, maybe you represent structure in the home, or you tend to, I don't know, in social interactions, you're calling the shots. Because that's our essence, that's our core being as Capricorns. And so he can still use that leadership energy in combination with Aries. So what does this mean now? If we break it down from a Capricorn sun, you have to remember that this channel is for all placements. And you might be a Capricorn sun, but your rising sign, which is sort of the avatar that you play in life, okay? The expression of whatever your soul wanted to explore in this lifetime, it's different. It could be different than your sun sign, okay? And if you haven't already discovered what your rising, your ascendant sign is, just Google it. You do need to know a little bit more than just your date of birth. You need to know your place of birth and the time. So that determines what your ascendant sign is, and then there's actual houses that are associated with that fall among all of the zodiac signs. So if you happen to be like myself, I'm a Capricorn sun, but my ascendant, I was born at 2 in the morning. My ascendant is actually a Scorpio. So my expression in this lifetime tends to be more Scorpio, but my soul's essence in terms of my purpose, what I present, the player of the avatar, if you will, the guy using the controller, that's the Capricorn sun, but the ascendant is really the little avatar playing on the screen. Okay, so definitely take a look and explore that. But I'm going to do a reading today where I'm going to go through each of those ascendant signs, and I'm going to use the Mind Info Oracle cards to really explore that. So I am also a little bit new to the houses, so I have a cheat sheet over here. So if you see me looking to the right, I will timestamp each of the ascendant signs below in the notes, so you can go ahead and jump ahead. But again, if this does ring true, I would be very honored for any like and subscribes. Take what resonates, leave the rest, and welcome. Let's get started. So I want to get started with Aries in the first house. A self-identity, physical body, and approach to life. That is, if that is your ascendant, where you are a Capricorn sun, Aries rising, or ascendant rather. If that is you, to me what this tells me is that whatever, if you fill in the blank around I am a doctor, I'm a brother, I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a mother, I am a caretaker. Whatever that is for you right now, and the fact that we've got Saturn, coming in, he's basically saying to go deeper, but yet there's a new start here. It's not like you're stuck with just that sentence. It's not like, it's always something more. It's not just I am this, but I'm also this and this and that. Okay, so it's important that you don't only over index or overthink what that role that you might be playing, but there is some leeway here. This is new energy for you. So let's see what Spirit has to say from the Mind Info Oracle cards for the ascendant sign of Aries. Reassess, which is just what I was just getting there. It's so funny. We're being asked to take stock of your life and let go of anything or anyone that no longer makes you happy. Notice who and what you bring, what brings you joy, and who and what does not. It's time for some life cleaning up. All right, so fire sign, the Ram is coming through. The Ram is saying, this is it. We're moving through. This job is no longer working for you. You're putting too much of yourself into this relationship. It's asking you to redefine those identities. Okay, are they still working for you? Are they not? And that Ram is gonna, like I said, the bull in the china shop. He's gonna bust through. He's gonna break the vase of the thing that isn't serving you. And the question is like, I'm sure Saturn's like, whoa, hold on, right? Like, don't, and he's like the one like running behind the Ram, like, making sure that the vase doesn't fall. Okay. And that's what I'm gathering here, which is kind of like that fire energy is going to burn down what should no longer stay up. Should no longer live, or should no longer be maintained. It's going to burn down. But what Saturn's going to do is going to be like, hold on, like, let's be smart about this. I get that this needs to burn down, but like, Rome was not built in a day. Like, well, let's do this in bite-sized pieces over the course of the next 2.5 years. Okay, so it's asking for, Spirit is saying, is reassess who you are. And do you still, does that still feel good? Try that identity on for size. I am the mother. I am the father. I am the doctor. Whatever that is again, allow that reassessment to occur and leverage the Saturn energy as it's coming through to say, hey, let it burn down, or let's do so at a pace that makes sense, so it doesn't like destroy everything, right? We don't want to like burn down the whole shop. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 items that needs to go. So take a look at that, Aries. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. Let's move on to the sign of the ascendant sign or rising sign of Taurus. This is going to be occurring in your 12th house of subconscious patterns, isolation, spiritual retreat, or hidden enemies. Ooh, that's a mouthful. So this is stuff that's hidden. It's in the underbelly. It is things that it's sort of there. It's below the surface. It's not necessarily always accessible to us, to you rather. So again, Taurus is an earth sign. Okay, that's something to also take note of. So if you are a Taurus rising sign, you're very grounded, okay, and you're very comfortable in that, in what you can see on the surface, okay, and there's something there that's telling me over the next 2.5 years that this fire energy, you know, this Saturn and Aries energy, it needs to kind of like tilling a garden. That's what I'm gathering, okay? It's like, hey, you know, we've had some great seasons, but this garden has got to be tilled up. We gotta mix it up a little bit. Or it's almost like I want to put in a new garden here and I need to till the land a little bit, okay? It needs to come to the surface. And so if you think about the, I'm almost thinking of like an oxen, right? And there's like this farmer behind the oxen, and the oxen is like walking very, very slowly, but the land is being tilled. Okay, that to me is the energy that I'm gathering here. There's something just below the surface that we are unable to access, and guess what? This Aries energy is going to allow us to finally access this. But we're going to do so in a way that Saturn's like, hold on, we're going to do so at, you know, in a controlled pace. hold your horses. All right, so Taurus, this is going to happen May the 25th, and it's going to go, the transit of Saturn and Aries is going to be here all the way to September. He's going to go back into retrograde in Pisces from September until February 2026. Then he's going to go back into Aries from February 2026 all the way until April of 2028. A long time here. So there's something here that's going to be really, you're making a new garden for yourself. That's really what I'm gathering for you. And this is going to be great. This energy, I think, is going to be powerful. All right, let's see what Spirit has to say. Jump in. Okay. You're being asked to take a chance and give whatever you're questioning a try. The stars will never all align into the right way. Sometimes you have to take the leap. That is the time. Okay, so allow the energy to come through. Don't fight it. Don't resist. Don't resist it. Just move forward. Allow it to come through. Move with this energy. It might feel uncomfortable, right? If you're tilling your garden, everything's shaken up. Everything's out of place. If you're making a garden for the first time, you'll have chunks of grass everywhere, and it doesn't look pretty. Okay, go with it. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. Is just go with it. Don't hold back. All right, let's move forward into the sign of Gemini. This is occurring in your 11th house of friendships, social circles, and long-term goals and community. So, a very social area, right? Like, think about your relationships to your community. Think about your friends. It could be childhood friends. It could be your friends now. It could be even your network at work. Whatever that looks like for you, it sounds as if that there's something here that this fire energy, something's going to change, okay? And it's going to change. I'm not gathering it's something to be fearful of at all. This is going to be a very positive change, but something that has been in a paradigm for a really long time. It needs to expand. It's sort of overstayed its welcome. It's expired. You know, it's been sitting on the shelf for too long. Maybe it's almost expanding, moving a friendship circle outside of work into more of an interpersonal relationship around lifelong friends, for example. Let's see what Spirit has to say for you. And again, for our Gemini friends, this transit will be occurring on May the 25th, this Sunday, I believe. It will occur all the way where Saturn will be in Aries all the way until September of 2025, he's going to go retrograde back into the sign of Pisces until February 2026. Then he's going to go back into Aries and will be there all the way until April of 2028. So we're getting just a flavor this summer. Okay, so this is, again, Saturn takes his time. He does things the long way. He's not going to take any shortcuts with this, despite what this Ram wants to do, this Aries energy. All right, so let's see. Gemini, you've got align. All right. You're being asked to align with your current situation, even if it's not easy to do so. Trust that there is much to be learned by being here. Pushing against what it is will only make things harder on you. Align, surrender, and trust. Okay, so friendships and circles. Again, this is your 11th house, Gemini. That if there is any sort of hesitation, maybe, where you might find yourself in a new community or in a new social circumstance. Maybe you just moved into a new neighborhood or a new job, and you're kind of like, I don't know, you're still on the outside. Okay, you're not quite in the know yet. You're not quite, you haven't quite gone all in and reached that level of vulnerability in your interpersonal relationships to create a sense of friendship, a sense of social connection. I think what this is saying here is that you're going to actually get a new friendship circle, or something that might seem very that might seem very surface level to you today is going to grow and expand and deepen. That's what I'm gathering here. So with the fire energy is saying, don't hold back, just go after it. And the Saturn energy is going to be like, invest, take your time, do so, and in a measured way, if that makes sense. So going into this friendship circle, taking things to the next level with hey, somebody who might be just an acquaintance, and then deciding, hey, I'm going to go for coffee. It doesn't have to be romantic, just like a regular friendship. And maybe you start texting somebody that happens to just be a friend, and now you start sharing more intimate details of your life. And again, not romantic. I'm strictly talking platonic here. It's really saying, hey, and align with this energy. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. You need to be all in here. So that's for you, Gemini, in the next 3 years. All right, let's move on to our Capricorn Sun and rising Cancer signs. Now, if you are this, I would love to know in the comments, because Cancers I find very challenging in my personal life, but they are the opposite sign of the zodiac. So what does that even look like if you are a Capricorn Sun, but you're a rising Cancer sign? Cancers are emotional, very emotional energy. They're a water sign, very interesting. So this is actually going to be occurring in your 10th house. So you rising Cancers, this coming weekend on May the 25th all the way until September 1st of 2025, Aries will be moving into the sign, or Saturn rather, will be moving into the sign of Aries, and he's going to stay there, and then he'll move back and retrograde into Pisces, but then he's going to go back into the sign of Aries in February. And so he's going to be in Aries all the way until April of 2028. It's a long time. So again, Saturn takes his time. He's the taskmaster. And the other thing that should be noted is the fact that he's in the sign of his fall. This is not Libra, where it's the sign of his exaltation on the other side of the zodiac wheel. This is Aries. So the part that he's so comfortable in around being able to control and to have structure and to have rules, regulations, he doesn't have that anymore. He can't predict it. It's a fire sign. It's the bull in the china shop. What can he take? He can take his leadership side. So Cancers, this is occurring in your 10th house in the career, reputation, public image, and long-term achievements. So let's see here. What I'm gathering right now for you Cancer signs, given this is in the sign of your career, I'm guessing that there might be something here that is going to change in your career. Maybe your tenured corporate job with predictable income and 401k contribution and medical and all of that, maybe it's not going to work. There's going to be some uncertainty here. You might be laid off, and you got to take the contract job, or you walk away from a regular paycheck in favor of pursuing some sort of entrepreneurial ambition. That's okay. And I think that the ram, the Aries ram, he's got his eyes set on something. He's gonna go after it, right? So the dog with the bone, he's like, I'm going in. But in the wake of the damage, that's where Saturn comes in and is like, hold on. And, you know, if he's gonna kind of hold him back, just to make sure, like, he's gonna rein in, so minimize the damage. I don't want to say damage either. It's like, that's like a value judgment word, but like, using the analogy, it can be all this fast moving energy. Saturn's here to say, let's do this in small doses. Yes, I get it. We need to have this change. This is no longer serving us. We need to go after something new, but in a measured way. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Break free. Oh, I love this. I love this analogy here. You're being asked to break free from the tribe in order to live your authentic life. This isn't easy, but it's very necessary if you're going to share your true self with others. Be brave, be real, be you, and trust that those who love you will always be there for you. So if your identity has always been this provider of from a career perspective, right now you're being called to it's no longer serving you, to take chances, to take risks. That's what the ram, the fire energy, is here to do. But as you're doing so, Saturn is going to make sure, it's kind of like the chaperone, okay? He's going to make sure that you're eventually gonna get to your dreams and goals and wishes, but it's gonna take some time, and you're gonna do so. It's gonna take stages. You might not get it right after you get laid off from your job, right? But there's a liberation here. This is what I'm gathering, and don't worry about what your family might think about you. I know it can be really hard because a lot of Capricorn suns out there happen to be the sole provider of your family. If that is the case for you, my heart goes out to you, sending you all the love and light. However, it's time for you to walk away from having those chains. And this is hard. I'm getting very much like our card in the major arcana, the devil card, the number 15. Like the devil, we're so changed to our ways, and you know, right now the ram he's not being held back. This chain ain't gonna hold him. He's gonna move forward, and life will move. But in the wake of that, the Saturn is going to make sure that we're gonna be okay, because we have in our nature the ability to create new structure in the midst of chaos. So get excited. I'm excited for you, Cancer. So Leos, let's move on to rising sign Leo, sun Capricorn. This is going to be occurring in your 9th house of higher education, philosophy, travel, and belief systems. So I love this. First of all, Leo is another fire sign. Aries is a fire sign. So there's a lot of fire energy here, which is great. Leos can be about life purpose as well. So there's that in the mix. When I think about higher education, philosophy, and travel, so, you know, when we're young, and maybe you are young, we have all these dreams and ambitions, and then all of a sudden we wake up one day, and we, especially for a Capricorn sun, we you know, life hits us, and we get a 9 to 5, or we do what we're supposed to do, or what we think society wants us to do, and we take that on. And I think what this is saying is that if we had any of those dreams and ambitions in our youth, go back and explore them. It's okay. New thought systems, start questioning your belief systems. The ram, if you know, you're a church-going person, no offense to those, you know, or you know, you as sure as sliced bread, or as, you know, when the sun comes up, you find yourself going to work, or dropping the kids off at school, whatever that is, or whatever that mix is for you, that is very structured and methodical. I think you're starting to second guess it. You're starting to question everything. It's like, should I be here? Is this my life purpose? What am I meant to be doing? I'm really curious about this. All of that curiousness energy, that's the fire that's within you that's been ignited. And if you are young, you gotta tend that flame. There's just kindling there. You gotta put another log on the fire. Let that turn into a bonfire. And so Saturn is here saying, first of all, he's not gonna let that bonfire, for those who might be young, he's not gonna let that bonfire get out of control. It's not gonna turn into a wildfire. But those who are older, Saturn's gonna push you along, okay, and ensure that that if you're going to jump into that new educational pursuit, if you know, that new belief system, whatever you've forgotten about, the leadership side of Saturn is going to say, let's do this together. You're going to be okay. It's that reassurance model, that level of self-confidence. It's going to be okay. So let's see what Spirit has to say. Being asked to listen. So let's see, Leo, you're being asked to listen to your inner voice. It's guiding you to do something, to say something. It's time to act on wisdom. So this kind of almost said what I was trying to say for that other side of it. So again, I said like the younger side, but those who might be older in life, looking back on their youth and like, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. This is, I was struggling before, but listen is important. It's kind of like Spirit is saying, go after that passion. You know, you wanted to, I don't know, explore philosophy, or you wanted to be a doctor, or you were curious about gardening or agriculture, whatever that is that those little nudges, okay, listen to them and take inspired action. That's the leadership style that Saturn is gonna drag you on through. It's the one thing, like the china shop, bull in the china shop, he's gonna be screaming it super loud, but you gotta listen to that and allow that energy to push you forward and to propel you into a new and better you. So Leos, your purpose in life here, I would love to know, how is that changing for you? All right, let's move on to Virgos, all my Virgo rising and ascendant signs. This is occurring in your 8th house of shared resources, transformation, intimacy, death, and rebirth. So this transit will be occurring this Saturday, or I think this Sunday rather, May the 25th, and it will be going all the way until September 1st of 2025, where Saturn will be moving into the sign of Aries. He's going to go back into Pisces until February 2026. Then he'll move back into Aries, and we'll be there until April of 2028. So it's a long transit. Saturn takes his time. So for those Sun Capricorn, rising Virgos, if this is occurring in, you know, your death house, death and rebirth, it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. So you're going to go through something, and I don't know what it is, but I think it's exciting. So this process here, it's like, again, this ram is like this fire. He's like, he's gonna burn the house down. He wants to do that, but Saturn's gonna be like, hold on, like, we got the fire extinguisher over here. Like, hold your horses. You know, I know that you're gonna start the fire here, but we're gonna do so in a measured way. But there's something that needs to come through, that needs to end. There's an ending here, but then there's going to be a new beginning. I don't know what that looks like, but that new beginning that wants to come through, you're going to have that power to do it. You're going to get through it, and it's going to be okay. So even when the going gets tough, that death of whatever it might be hard, that's no longer serving you, and you may not even know what it is yet. It could be, you know, 6 months from now. It could be sometime next year. You have to remain positive, and that's where the light needs to shine from Saturn. All right, let's see what Spirit has to say. Check in. when you think about whatever it is that you're pondering, take a moment to check in and see how you feel about it. Do you feel lighter or heavier? Excited or filled with dread? Pay attention to inner guidance. It's always so helpful. So check in. I think this is the message from Spirit. As you're going through these transitions, it's easy to fall into a lower vibration around victimhood. I'm just going to say it, victimhood, where it's like, why does this always have to happen to me? I lost my job, or, you know, I lost my home, or this isn't working out in the way I intended it to, whatever that is. By taking this opportunity to pause and to check in and taking yourself out of the situation and looking at it from the soul perspective of what it is that you are here to learn and to grow. Taking that moment puts you out of the dip, if you will, in your vibration and keeps you in a neutral stance. What can I learn from this? And this is not to toxic positivity. That's not what this is about, because I do understand and it's important to honor. Let's not spiritual bypass any true challenges. That is part of your journey. But I think going through it, if we have this opportunity where Saturn will create these this cadences of check-ins, you can find yourself where you are dipping in the vibration, where it's one thing to honor your true feeling around something, but it's another thing to stay in that energy and get to victimhood. If you have the pause and the check-in of what can I learn from this? How am I growing? How am I expanding? By doing that, that's where Saturn is taking the true hallmark of the leader in us and allows us to really benefit from this. It's the phoenix rising from the ashes. So strong message there, Virgo. Let me know in the comments if you're going through something like that. All right, so let's move on to Libra. All my Libras that are out there. Rising Libra, Sun sign Capricorn. This is occurring in your 7th house of partnerships, marriage, one-on-one relationships. So again, we are having this major transit where our ruling planet, if you're Capricorn Sun, is moving from the sign of Aries into the sign, from the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries this May the 25th, which is this weekend, and we'll be there all the way. We're going to get flavor this summer, until September. And then from September until February of 2026, he's going to move back into Pisces. And then in February 2026, all the way till April of 2028, he's going to go back into Aries. So this is a long transit here, right? He's going to be doing a lot of soul searching when he goes back into Pisces. So what are we learning, right? And Libra is the sign of his exaltation. So it's having the 7th house of partnerships, marriage, and relationships. What can we learn? Where I see this is like if you are in a partnership, maybe that partnership is no longer equitable. Maybe the other person is not reciprocating. Perhaps there is something there that that a partnership is so it could be a severing of a partnership or redefining of a relationship. On the other hand, it could be a new relationship or a new partnership that means to come through. And the ram could be either going through and severing the relationship that doesn't work, or he could be jumping headfirst into a new relationship. And that needs to be you, I think. Making the text message to someone, a special someone, if you're looking for love, or perhaps the other person is ready to take the relationship to the next level and you might be hesitating. Use this ram energy to jump in head first. Again, the ram, Aries energy is fire. He doesn't ask for permission, he asks for forgiveness. But what the Saturn sign, the Saturn planet here is ready to say, okay, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna make sure that it feels good on everybody. Okay, so maybe if there's been in the past relationships where you've given too much of yourself and hasn't been reciprocated, and that relationship needs to come to an end, and a new one is starting. that level, especially given the fact that this is in Libra, it means that from the ongoing, from the get-go, you have to stand up for yourself. It needs to be from a place where, in a relationship, at all times, it's never 50-50. I want to be clear about that. But what I would say is that you're not going to put yourself second. You're going to put yourself first moving forward. And if you put yourself first moving forward, what that does is it either redefines a relationship and it levels up, it ends a relationship, or it creates a new relationship built more on equality. So definitely here, I think that Saturn is here to do that, is to really be able to have that level of confidence in this situation and allow yourself to put yourself first. Let's get a message from Spirit. All right, so for my Libras, detach. Woo. So maybe it is a severing of a relationship. You're being asked to detach from something you've been holding on to. When you hold on too tightly to the desired outcome, it restricts the flow. Trust that the outcome will work out and let go of your attachment to it. So, I'm getting very much Four of Pentacles vibes here. So, what this energy is really telling me is that if you are in a relationship and you feel that you are staying in it through obligation, this transit is basically saying, it's time to go. It's no longer serving you. You got to walk away. And the confidence, the self-confidence to stand up for yourself and to detach yourself from something or a dynamic that's not working. So it doesn't necessarily mean completely leaving the relationship. It means detaching yourself from a dynamic within the relationship that's no longer serving you, and sticking up and putting thoughts and feelings into words and actions is what it comes down to, is what I'm gathering here. So whatever this is, you need to really stand up for yourself. Leverage Saturn in his detriment. He's a leader, okay? He doesn't necessarily know what's going to happen now, right? Because we don't know the outcome in this circumstance, but be focused on the here and now. Be focused on the next step. It's about the journey, not about the outcome. So in the journey, in the here and the now, what is the better, what is the higher calling for the self? How can you protect yourself? How can you stand up for yourself to make sure that your needs are being met in the go forward? And that means redefining a relationship, severing a relationship, or making a new relationship. One that is built on equality is really what you're being called to do here. All right. Let's move forward. Scorpio, which is me, rising sign Scorpios. If you're that, let me know in the comments. This is occurring in your 6th house of daily work, health, routine, service to others. So let's talk about this transit first. Saturn as a sun sign, Capricorn. This is our ruling planet. He is going to be moving on May the 25th. From the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries. And we'll be there. We'll get a flavor of him and the vibe check this summer all the way until September 1st of 2025. Then he's going to retrograde. He's going to do some soul searching. He's going to move back into Pisces. And then he's going to be there all the way until February of 2026. In February, he's going to move back into Aries and will be there all the way and finish his business all the way until April of 2028. So it's a long time. Remember, Saturn takes his time. He is the taskmaster. So for Scorpio, this is occurring in the 6th house. This is the daily work, health, routine, service to others. So it's the grind, okay? So there's something here. If we think about the fact that we all have routines, especially as Capricorn suns, we're very comfortable with our routine, okay? And Scorpio is a water sign. Okay, and the fact that we have this transit occurring where our routines, the things that we're used to, our comfort zone, right? Having things planned out for us, very predictable. And there's going to be something that's going to be disruptive. We live in uncertain times. So this is not just happening. Again, we have to remember these transits do not just affect Capricorn sun. This affects everyone on this planet. I think we're feeling these vibrations right now. The fact that there's so many new energy hitting the earth that things are uncertain in the collective. Okay, we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't, and I think it's very cliche to say we live in these uncertain times, but the reality is that there's a lot of things that can change. Things that we thought were sure as sliced bread are no longer necessarily so something we can rely on. Okay, and that has an impact. It has an impact on our health. It has an impact on our work, our routines, how we interact with others. Things are likely to change in the next 2 or 3 years, and we have to be prepared for that. And it can take its toll on our health. And that's where I think that, from a leadership perspective, Saturn is really here to say, hey, you got to really lean in. You got to take a pause and a timeout. You got to really take care of yourself. Okay. There's a lot will change. The ram is going to move in. The fire is going to be here. And it's going to disrupt us, especially in areas as Capricorns when we're so used to structure as suns. But when we're here and this all of a sudden this changes, and as a rising sign, as a Scorpio, and what our routine is comfortable with, we got to be flexible. We got to lean into that water energy. We got to go with the flow. But as we go with the flow and all of this, the amount of change, the rate of change that's coming at us all at once, if we don't take the time out to take care of ourselves, we're going to have problems. So let's see what Spirit has to say. Abundance. Okay. You're being asked to open to abundance, to believe that you're deserving of it, and have to believe that it will flow to you. This is the first important step to receiving it. Breathe deeply and trust that it's on its way. Okay. So, taking inspired action in the daily grind. You don't see results right away. It's like working out, right? You go to the gym and you're like, oh, you're so fired up and like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do all these great things. And, you know, you have all this energy and that energy fades real quick come the weekend, whatever that is. That energy of fulfillment or abundance, whatever that is for you, it might take some time to realize it. And you can't give up. You need to keep going towards that abundance. And Saturn will help you. Saturn will push you forward. Okay. So when it comes to your health, when it comes to your routines, it's important that you do not over anchor on one thing. Like this is the magic that's gonna like fix me. Okay. You need to be open and flexible with trying different things and recognizing that there is abundance in all of those endeavors. Even if it's something you try for one day and it doesn't work out, try again. That's what I'm gathering. All right, let's move on to my beautiful Sagittarius rising Capricorn suns. This is occurring in your 5th house of creativity, romance, children, and self-expression. So for you rising Sagittarius, welcome. There we have an important transit occurring on May the 25th all the way until September of 2025. Where Saturn, our ruling planet as Capricorn suns, will be moving into the sign of Aries. It is his detriment. His exaltation is in the sign of Libra, all the way on the other side of the zodiac wheel. The fact that he's going to be here, he's going to be stripped away from a lot of his ability of predictability, of structure, of control, but he's going to be left with his ability to be a leader. Okay, and his leadership qualities. And that's what we're being asked to bring to the forefront. He's going to stay in there until September. Then he's going to move back into Pisces, do some soul searching, making sure he's figuring it all out. Then he's going to move back into Aries in February 2026 and finish his job in April of 2028. So if this during this time period, there's a lot on the table for us as Sagittarius risings to learn from. And especially if it's in your 5th house of creativity, romance, children, and self-expression. So if you're in this space, you might not be able to predict. If you want to expand your family, you're like, oh, I'm going to be 40 in 5 years, so I better have my last child. And then I better get a house, and I better get this, and I better get this. Whatever that, I'll call it this societal expectation of what, children and romance might look like for you, that Saturn is so used to structure and what it should look like. Guess what? Sagittarius is another fire sign. And Aries is like, we're going to do it however it comes. If you want another child, you're just going to like go after it, okay? He knows deep down inside, the ram knows is going to go for it and he's going to get it. But Saturn, which is so used to it being fitting into the perfect little cookie cutter mold of, you know, 2 kids, a dog and a cat, 2-car garage, all of that, it might not look like what he's used to. But at the same time, that energy is like, hey, it's going to come in small doses and we're going to continue to do it and we're going to make it happen. He's ready to lean into that energy with the ram. So let's explore this. Sagittarius, it is occurring in your 5th house. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Choice. All right, so you're being asked to make a choice that you've been struggling with. It's time to decide which path you're going to take. Listen to your intuition, eliminate everyone else's input, and feel your way into the choice that is right for you. The time is now. So I love this because, again, going back to what I was sort of touching on intuitively before around the idea of a children, 2-car garage, being married at a certain time, having kids at a certain time, having a career, etc. I don't think that's serving you anymore. Okay, and you're being asked to make a choice around what you truly want, what lights you up, what creates that fire, that passion, that spark, that energy within you. And when you make, and this is where Saturn's going to push you to make that choice and then to stick with it. Okay, don't give up on the choice, even if the going gets tough. Don't hesitate. So, so Sagittarius, I would love to know what this looks like. So maybe it's something that you've ruled off in the past. Oh, I'm too old to have kids, or you know, I can't start a new career, or perhaps it's like, oh, you know, I just met them a few months ago. It's too early to move in. Whatever that is, the Spirit is saying, don't cave into the pressures of what other people think about it. Deep down within, leverage your spirit, leverage your guides, you know, your own divine guidance to help you make this choice and to lean in without anyone else's counsel, but that of your own. Okay, of your higher self. That's what you're being called to do. And Saturn will help you do that along the way. He's going to help you look within. But again, don't cave into those societal pressures anymore. The path forward looks so much different than the path behind us. So with that, let's move into Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun. If that's you, I think that's so cool. I'm curious about this. So this is occurring in your 4th house of home, family, roots, and emotional foundations. So we have a very important transit that's occurring this weekend, May the 25th, and it's going to be our ruling planet, Saturn, that will be moving out of the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries all the way until September. So we're going to get a flavor this summer. And then in September 2025, he's going to move back retrograde into the sign of Pisces. He's going to do some soul searching. He's going to he's going to make sure he's going to make some tweaks and some changes, like, hey, what are we really doing here? And then in February of 2026, he's going to go back into the sign of Aries and will be there to finish his work on whatever it is he's doing for you until April of 2028. Long time. All right, so this is our ruling planet in our roots, our home, family. So this could be some sort of change in your home, or making a home a permanent home. It could be expanding a family. It could be also some sort of emotional, how you look at life. All right. Something is there where this fire energy is here to turn up the dial. Okay. Whatever we've been, I almost feel it's like something that we have been lukewarm on or not all in. Now is the time where it's like, you got to put all your chips. There's no looking back at this point. Again, the ram is not about, he asks for forgiveness. He doesn't ask for permission. And so If you're gonna get married and you're gonna expand your family, it's like don't look back. You don't. But yet he can't plan everything, right? He just says, I'm gonna do this, and I don't care how it's gonna get done. I'm gonna do it. Versus, you know, Capricorn and the Saturn. Saturn's just like, hold on, how, like, you know, how are we going to make this happen? So he is in his detriment, okay? He is in his fall. He's in his exaltation of Libra, in which everything is planned out and there's structure and it's very predictable and he can control everything. Saturn cannot. But what is he left over with? He's left over with his leadership, and that is built into our DNA as Capricorns. So, what does this mean? I would love to know. Let's get one card, one oracle card for our Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising. Resolution. Okay. Whatever it is you've been struggling with is about to be resolved. Remember that resolutions don't always happen in the way we hope or want, but being able to move forward and start fresh always brings relief. So this tells me that whatever it is that we're trying to do is that we are trying to move forward in our life. Saturn is going to push us, and even if it means we're kicking and screaming, he's going to push us forward. This is saying that, hey, if baby is on the table, baby making's on the table, it's going to happen. And this is how we're going to do it. If getting married is on the table, this is going to happen. If it's like going back to school or going to school for the first time or quitting your job and becoming an entrepreneur, it's like decision. That's the ram, the fire energy. But the resolution to move forward and to do it and to stay committed to the cause, that's where Saturn energy is here. And so I really am getting here, Spirit is saying, just move forward. It's going to be okay. The universe has your back. And for the better or for the worse, there's no worse. It's at the end of the day, it's another opportunity to grow, to learn, and expand. We are here on this Earth school together, Capricorn. So I would love to know what's going on in your family. It could even be building a new home. It could be about your home, about your family, family of origin as well. All right, let's move forward. So if we're thinking about Aquarius rising, Capricorn sun, let's move on to Aquarius. This is occurring in your third house of communication, siblings, short trips, and learning. So for those rising Aquarius, Capricorn sun, the fact that we have this big transit occurring this weekend where Saturn, our ruling planet as Capricorn suns, will be moving from the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries, and will be there all summer until September. Then he's going to retrograde back, do some soul searching, and move back into the sign of Pisces, and will, you know, kind of polish up whatever plan he has for us until February of 2026. So in February 2026, all the way until April of 2028. He's going to make sure we finish and complete the mission, okay? Saturn is a slow-moving planet. It takes time. He does things a slow way. But at the end of the day, whatever it is whatever the taskmaster has in store for us, it's a big reward, all right? So the fact that it's occurring for you, Aquarius, in this space of communication, siblings, short trips, and learning, it could be a couple different things. Remember, Saturn is in his sign of his detriment. He doesn't have the control, the structure. He can't predict things for us, but he still is a leader, and that is what he brings to the table. Even though the ram is like this fire energy in Aries, he's all over the place. Okay. This tells me that, you know, maybe it's about re-examining your relationship with your siblings. Either maybe a sibling that may have been very distant, and he's there to rekindle that relationship and build a beautiful relationship that maybe you've been very distant for most of your life, and all of a sudden he's bringing you together. On the flip side, perhaps you need more boundaries with your siblings, where I know a lot of Capricorn suns happen to be providers and have take on a lot of familial obligations financially within their families. He's there to build boundaries as well, and to sort of redefine the relationship with siblings. There might be something there that might be occurring, and that's where Saturn's going to help us out. It could, if it's doing with short trips and learning, it could also be with, in regards to, maybe it's like a side quest. That's what I'm gathering here, which is like, Aquarius again is an air sign, humanitarian sign. So perhaps there is something in your soul essence that that you're looking to do some sort of something outside of your routine. Go on that trip to Egypt if you've been following all of this cool stuff about what they're uncovering beneath the pyramids, or a side quest to volunteer at the animal rescue shelter. Stepping outside. When it says short trips and learning, I'm not gathering like travel, but more like short little jaunts that are outside of your main storyline. Again, side quest. Okay, there's something there that is telling me that the Saturn rather in Aries is gonna say. Normally we'd pass over and be like, oh, that's too superfluous, it's too much money, let's not do it. Or I'm not, like, he doesn't call me on my birthday, I'm not going to text him back, kind of thing with your sibling. Or, hey, he's asking for more money, I'm just gonna send him another $50, okay? So it could be any of those three possibilities. The third house has a lot, okay? What I'm really thinking is that in this time period for you, Aquarius rising, is that Saturn is here to say, go after the side quest. Okay, we don't know what the side quest is, but whatever you got, the Ram is gonna purchase the plane tickets. He's gonna do the signing up for you. But Saturn is gonna make sure you go. Okay, and when it comes to the siblings, basically what I'm gathering is the energy of Saturn is gonna say, hey, don't send him another $50, or send him and say, this is the last time. Let's go have coffee. Let's have a conversation to create a new boundary. Let's redefine this. Or if it's somebody that you haven't spoke to in a while, it's like, hey, the Ram is going to send the text message, but I really think that Saturn is going to be there to keep a new cadence in play around holidays, or hey, rekindling the relationship around taking the next inspired action to build that relationship over again. So let's see what Spirit has to say for you, Aquarius. Speak up. When you are not saying what are you not saying that's eating you up inside? You can't keep this forever. It's time to let it out so you can move on and be happy. So I really am getting that it's a boundary thing with the siblings here. Maybe it's not money, but maybe they're always asking you to babysit, or you happen to be the one they call when they've had too much to drink and it's the middle of the night. Okay, this is about building boundaries with siblings. Okay, and I also am gathering from a side quest perspective. It's like amplify that energy of, hey, I want to go do this. There's no time like the present. We ain't getting any younger. Okay, go after this. Don't shy away from an opportunity. Lean into it. All right. Lastly, for my beautiful rising Pisces signs and Capricorn sun, this important transit is going to be occurring in your second house of money, possessions, self-worth, and values. So what does that look like if you're a Capricorn sun, Pisces rising? So this transit will be occurring this weekend, May the 25th, and we'll go all the way in the summer. We'll get a flavor of Saturn moving from Pisces into the sign of Aries. In September, he's going to move back into Pisces. He's going to do some soul searching, and then he's going to stay there all the way until February of 2026, when then he's going to be like, I'm going to double down. We're going after it, and he's going to move direct into the sign of Aries all the way until April of 2028. Yes, it's a long time. Saturn is the taskmaster. He takes his time. He's a slow-moving planet. So for Pisces, given the fact that this is in the second house of money, possession, self-worth, and values, values. There's something here about abundance and our definition of abundance, okay? And I think that what this is saying is that maybe there's a new acquisition of a new form of abundance for us, or redefinition of abundance. But really what it's saying is the ram is like, he's going to take the risk. He's going to go ahead in. Maybe it's a new investment, a financial investment or crypto or whatever that is. He's going to buy the property. He's gonna do the endeavor, whatever that is. He's like, I want to do this. I'm not going to look back. But with Saturn, he's going to be like clutching his pearls the whole time. Okay, while this is occurring. But he's also gonna like rein it in, and he's gonna be like, all right, this is a cutoff. Like, I get that you want to do this, but we're gonna do this in a measured way. We're gonna wait and see. We're gonna like digest and integrate what these risks are actually doing to us. And it could be financial. Again, it could also be it doesn't have to necessarily be financial. It's self-worth and values. So if it's self-worth and values, it could be something around the point of taking stock of like, who am I? You know, and saying like, my self-worth, am I just, you know, I'm just a mom, or I'm just this, or I'm just this. A little bit more anchoring, and this is where, again, the fact that we're all the way on the other side of the zodiac wheel, if you listen to the Aries rising sign, but I am this, I am that. We're on that cusp there when we get into the self-worth and values aspect of it. But thinking about your values, okay, and what you consider right and wrong, and redefining that a little bit, and maybe something that you had overlooked as something being not so good. I think what this transit is trying to say is that, hey, you know, it's not so bad. Like, you're not so bad. This isn't so bad. And I'm not talking necessarily about like morality. What I'm talking about is self-worth. Like, oh, you know, the standards that we might hold to ourselves are, I'm no good because all I did was this. Or I had this fancy degree and I'm paying off this huge, you know, student loan, and all I've managed to account for myself in life is a 1-bedroom apartment. So sort of reassessing and asking yourself to question those values a little bit more, okay, and to say, hey, there's more abundance here than what meets the eye, and you really need to acknowledge that. So Pisces, let's see here what Spirit has to say. Healing. Okay, this is really important. Your body, mind, and soul are in a period of deep healing right now. You're going through many transformations at once, and you're being asked to allow yourself to receive the healing you need with open arms and open heart. So I think this isn't so much about the money and possessions aspect for you, Pisces. And again, I know it's in your second house. Take it as it resonates. But I do think that you've had these standards that you've held yourself to of an old definition of abundance that no longer serves you. A belief, a self-limiting belief. And I think what's going to happen here is that you're going to realize, hey, life isn't so bad here. I didn't, and to walk away from a lower vibration of regrets to a place of healing and empowerment, to say, hey, the choices that I made me who I am today. And look what I've learned along the way. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. So what have what abundance have I acquired in my life when it comes to my core nature, my being, my essence, as it relates to the decisions that I've made? And how do I take those learnings and apply them in a practical way moving forward when it comes to my abundance and my money and my possessions moving forward? So, strong message there for you, Pisces, at the end. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I did go through the whole zodiac for all my rising signs. I really appreciate you listening. And until next time, Capricorns, may you be happy, healthy, love, and light. Thank you.